In this video I will tell you about one of the most recognizable heroes of the game Poppy Playtime. Huggy Waggie is one of the main antagonists of Poppy Playtime. He is the main mascot of the Playtime Company. In addition to being the guard of the Playtime Factory, Playtime Company has created hundreds of different toys, but none of them is more connected with people than Huggy Waggie. The founder, Elliot Ludwig, aimed to create a toy that can hug forever. In Chapter 1, A Tight Squeeze, Huggy is first seen standing in his statue form by the player in an exhibition hall. When the player's back is turned, Huggy will hold a key on his right arm but remain motionless. After taking the key and turning the power back on in the power room, the player returns to the exhibition hall only to find that Huggy has now disappeared. Huggy goes on to stalk the player as they make their way through the facility. After the player manages to turn back on the toy-making machines and bypasses a door system using a toy made from the machines, Huggy reveals himself. Following the player into the facility's ventilation system, an intense chase ensues as Huggy attempts to catch and devour the player. After managing to momentarily escape Huggy and landing on a brittle catwalk, the player pulls a crate onto the crumbling structure just as Huggy bursts from the vents, causing it to collapse. Though the player manages to land safely on another catwalk not far below, Huggy strikes the railing and proceeds to fall into the abyss on the facility, slamming into several pipelines and leaving behind dark red blood splatters. In Chapter 2, Fly in the Web, Huggy does not appear, but is instead mentioned in the second entry discussing Experiment 1006, in which he was confirmed to be a different being as he used the alias Experiment 1170 instead. In Log 08502, Huggy was briefly mentioned as Experiment 1107, and was dubbed the most optimal subject, as he possesses the ideal amount of intelligence and is obedient to the scientists working at the company. According to Micah Prechado, Huggy Wuggy was not actually inspired by any animal like a dog. Instead, he was unironically inspired by Sour Patch Kids. Sour Patch Kids are delicious soft chewy candies that are coated with sour sugar, so the flavor of the lollipops changes from sour to sweet. Huggy is presumed an ex-human, as the writing in the vent chase says "This isn't my body." This however can be proven as false, as Huggy is presumed to be the one who wrote the writings in the vent chase. Huggy Wuggy is confirmed to be Kissy Missy's lover, based on Kissy Missy's profile on the digital collectible website. The term better half is a term for a spouse. Huggy Wuggy's better half and adorable counterpart, Kissy Missy, has a strange way of making any toy collection feel whole. Kissy Missy makes a minor appearance in Chapter 2. In the cart corridors, she is first seen walking towards the player, in a fashion similar to how Huggy Wuggy walks when triggering the vent chase. Separated from the player by a gate, she looks at the player for a short moment, then notices the lever nearby. She proceeds to pull it downwards, although unsuccessful on her first try, to open the metal gate. As the gate slowly rises up, she looks at the player once more, and walks away. Once the player reaches the end of the corridor from which she had come from, Kissy is nowhere to be seen. Facts: despite being quite tall, Huggy is very flexible and can easily move through ventilation shafts. On the ventilation wall, you can see a lot of inscriptions, which basically urge the player to accept, return, etc. But among them you can notice this: "I'm sorry, but I'm hungry." This can confirm that Huggy Waggie has a mind, and that all the phrases on the walls were written by him. Huggy Waggie is a living being. Real human eyes can be seen inside Huggy's toy eyes. This is clearly visible in the main menu of the game when you select Chapter 1. But, as it turned out later, it was only a reflection from the floor. In Chapter 2, it was confirmed that Huggy is Experiment 1170, and not Experiment 1006, which turned out to be the prototype, as many believed before the release of Chapter 2 of Fly in the Web. While playing, you might not notice some moments. For example, after opening the door leading to the warehouse, you can see the monster's hand. It will quickly crawl out the door if you get close. If you find at least one battery in the warehouse, and return to the power supply. You can see Huggy peeking out from under the door, on which a sign is drawn prohibiting entry there. The monster will simply watch the player, but unlike the first meeting, here his smirk slightly exposes the monster's teeth. After a short period of time, the door will slam shut and Huggy will slip out of sight. Playing Poppy Playtime, the hero and the game itself became extremely interesting, including in the field of animated films. One after another, small short videos began to be released, further popularizing Huggy Waggie. Of course, Huggy was demonized and the man, smiling broadly, rushed towards everyone in the desire to hug tightly, deathly hug. Although at the end of the first chapter, Huggy falls from a great height leaving bloody trails behind him, it is still assumed that he will return, as a vent surrounded by blood and blue fur can be seen in the water treatment area around a certain room. For those who watched this video to the end, a small bonus from me in the form of a song about Huggy Waggie, stylized as the 80s, it is short but pretty sweet. Thank you for your attention. I hope you enjoy this video and I will continue to delight you with new releases in the future. Make me happy with your likes, subscription, and leave all your wishes in the comments. See you soon.
His name is Huggy, Huggy Wuggy. When he hugs you, he'll never stop. Your friend Huggy, Huggy